Thursday, July 27, 2023. Good morning to you, St. Kitts Nevis. It's time for Island Tea. We are Island Tea. We got AZ in.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Jamster. Good morning, WINNFM. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning to the wider Caribbean and indeed the world. Everyone who is listening, everyone who's watching on the live stream. I am wishing you a pleasant morning this morning. It is a beautiful day. Let us give thanks. Let us be appreciative of the fact that we have life and that we can experience yet another amazing, wonderful day. So if it is that you're on your way to work at this point in time, I'm encouraging you to do the best that you can today. If it is that you're already at work, I'm encouraging you to, greet your co-workers with a smile, be pleasant this morning. If it is that you just take the day off and that you're just relaxing and you're just having a chill moment, I want you to enjoy today. Whatever you're doing, enjoy it, And this morning, I have a quote to share with you, something that, I'm looking at some inspirational quotes, and it is, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And it's said by Milton Berle, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And sometimes we are waiting in the sidelines. We're just waiting for the opportunity to arise. And sometimes we've waited for time, and it almost seems like time immemorial for this opportunity, just waiting for a chance, just waiting for opportunity. But sometimes that opportunity may take longer than you expect. And so it is encouraging you that if you realize that opportunity is not knocking, you build a door and you open it. Sometimes we have to take our own future into our own hands. Sometimes we have to shape what we want. Sometimes we have to be that person who creates the opportunity for ourselves. And so let us go forward. Let us push forward, creating opportunities, If it is that you are waiting for so long for this opportunity, think about a way in which you can create that opportunity that you so desire. Don't wait for someone to create it for you. Be the creator of that door so you can walk through it. And I am looking at some articles here. I looked at some articles at the WINNFM page. And of course, as we look at these articles on WINNFM, one of them stood out to me. And so I'm going to look at just something that happened recently. It's 3 Cameroonian bodies on St. Kitts and Nevis cremated without families' consent. And so it is an article here on WINNFM, and it says that the Cameroonian saga of the Federation continues as the ball was seemingly dropped in the handling of the bodies of the 3 deceased Cameroonian nationals. And so it goes on to say, and these 3 include 2 men and 1 woman, and that have been they have been recovered from the sea March 28, 2023. So this is from since March 28, 2023. It said in a previous statement, Prime Minister Terence Drew shared that the bodies were expected to be buried according to their customs if families were not found and they could not be repatriated to their homelands. He says that WINNFM understands that the 3 bodies were cremated on June 28, 3 months after they were recovered from the ocean, and that news has caused public scrutiny. Talks about the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Cromwell Henry, and he says that he spoke with WINNFM about what exactly led to the 3 bodies being cremated by the Liamiga Funeral Home. And it says that, according to the Deputy Commissioner, the cremation boils down to miscommunication between the parties involved, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Royal St. Kitts and Nevis Police Force, and the Deputy Commissioner of the Sadler Funeral Home and the Department of Social Services. And he says, while the police and social services were busy trying to find families of the deceased individuals, CID was handling with a complaint by the funeral home concerning the 3 bodies, which led to the cremation occurring without notifying the families of the 3 Cameroonians. And the article goes on to say even further that the Deputy Commissioner Henry, the government, according to him, says that the government has already spent nearly $40,000 of the national security budget on the deceased immigrants and families of the 3 deceased have requested that the police repatriate the ashes to Cameroon. So $40,000 has already been spent by the NEAs. $40,000 have already been spent of the national security budget on the deceased immigrants. And yes.
40,000, huh? And the families now want the ashes, huh?
They want it
You
back
mean
to
the same families that didn't claim them when the whole incident happened?
Well, you know how it is. If that is true, you know how it is usually with the family members.
Because if I recall, it was a whole incident, and they left Cameroon, went to Antigua, left Antigua on the way to St. Thomas, had a whole incident in the waters close to St. Kitts, were rescued. Let's just highlight that word, rescued. And nobody turned up. I don't recall anybody making any claims, telling them we'll pay to bring them home. You know, this is an unfortunate incident, nothing.
It goes on to say we had a big bill for storage and still have to bear the cost of
Yes.
burial. Then I guess that was the factor to cause them to just opt for cremation. But the CID were not aware that they were planning something else. It was a total breakdown in communication resulting in cremation. Then it appeared to the people that we fooled them, but there was no intention to fool them, or was no fooling. It's just that we went the way we went. But what I would say is, I think we have been very gracious to these people. We treat them with the utmost respect. Of course, the cremation
Yes.
was done in the usual way we would cremate even local people. And it was a tremendous cost to us. We had to use all that money from our budget that we have to fight crime. Yes.
This is madness. You know, I love the use of the word saga in the report, where it says the saga continues, because it's always something else. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in human rights, and everybody has, you know, a right to decide how they want to, I guess, exit if you can plan it. You know, most people decide, okay, I want a funeral, I want this, I want cremated, I want to be cremated. Most religious persons have set ways. For instance, persons that are Muslims, they need to be buried within 24 hours or, you know, whatever. But I feel like this situation is being exacerbated because when the whole incident happened, no one turned up. And I even remember one of the claims that they were making was that they want to be sent to their families in Texas. I was like, where are the families? Why aren't the families then sending a ticket or whatever so that you can leave St. Kitts and go to them? Why is it the St. Kitts government responsibility to send you to your family in Texas? Because I don't know if you remember that they had this list of things that they wanted the government to do. And I think one of them was to provide a meeting with the U.S. Embassy.
Yeah. I mean, it has been such a situation here over the last months, if you look at it. We had the Cameroonians, we also had the Haitians, and so,
Yes.
and you have seen, and we have seen, not only here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the Caribbean, persons have been, fleeing from territories into other territories, and for whatever reason, many of it illegally. So we have seen quite the situation. We have a caller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Go ahead.
Hello, good
Call
morning.
it.
Good morning, Jamster, Azard, and Candy. How
Good
are you all
morning.
doing this
Good.
morning?
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I know you all haven't heard my lovely voice. So.
It's
Indeed.
been a while, Carla. It's been a while.
Yes.
Too long, far
From
too
having-
long.
Yeah, from traveling to having car trouble, I, just wasn't able to tune in to you all. So, yeah.
Well, we're happy that you can this morning, and we are Very happy to hear
Hear
from
your
you.
voice,
Yes, to
yes,
hear
yes.
your voice.
Thank you. And I love that greeting and that word that you gave for the day, Azard.
Oh.
That just, sets it right. So I'm going to try to be as good and as, loving to everyone I meet today.
Yes,
Nice.
yes,
I'm
awesome.
actually on my way from the beach.
Oh,
Lucky
wow.
you.
Yeah,
You,
this is my walk and a swim.
you seem,
I'm jealous.
I know you're
yeah,
jealous.
you know, if you know
Yes.
I like to
Carla
rub it.
and you follow her on Facebook, she always has her beach photos, you know. I know you enjoy the beach, and
I'm so
many
jealous.
persons love the beach because, it regenerates and it gives you that
Yes,
sense of,
yes. But
completeness.
I wanted to weigh in on that Cameroonian thing, and I like what Candisie is saying. I mean, as I listened to it yesterday and again this morning, I just felt like, I don't want to be inhumane or anything like that, but it sounds like a bit much, that we have had the responsibility of looking after persons whom we recovered, our people recovered. They did not die here, as far as I'm understanding. They recovered those bodies, right? They had to keep them on ice for all of these months, and this glitch happened, and it's been blown up. I mean, how we are also paying rent for those who are here. I mean, people are not coming forward. It seems like a very. I think we're doing as good as we can. I think we're doing quite good, as a matter of fact. Antigua hasn't joined in to say that they're paying a penny. We are treating our African brothers and sisters with grace and dignity. And I don't know if, all of this, what I heard yesterday with the sister, what she had to say with the person from Antigua, what the report that they were given, it just seems very harsh.
Yeah. I feel like they're overdoing it.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say. They've been treated
Yeah.
very humanely here, and we've gone out of
Yeah.
our way to accommodate them. And now every minute is something else. It's like you're you're looking for things to cause a scene. Why?
Yes, I just, it's like, why, what else, are we supposed to do? These are
Yeah.
people who left their country, went to Antigua, chose to go on an overcrowded boat. Many people lost their lives. People were rescued and so on. I mean, it's just, we are doing what we can. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, I think, from what I understand, people are free. The Cameroonians are free to roam about on St. Kitts. They're doing work, as from what I understand.
You see?
They are their rents are being paid out of our budget,
Public
out of the
purse.
budget.
Yeah.
So, I think St. Kitts is doing a lot. I think St. Kitts is doing a lot. I mean, they're not in jails. Those who have passed, I think, to save electricity, to save, they've been cremated. Maybe it was a mistake, they're saying, but, why don't they send the money why don't they send for the ashes? This is a further payment that our government has to meet.
Exactly.
Correct.
And it has to be transported in a specific manner because remember, it's human
Parts.
remains.
Yeah. Someone
Yes,
on the
I actually heard the lady yesterday. I think that's what ticked me off. When she said they were supposed to be buried in the way of their tradition and it was supposed to be carried live so that they could
my.
see. Yes, didn't you hear her?
No, I missed that. Oh my
Yeah, I
goodness,
heard
you
that.
have it?
I heard it.
Maybe you
Yes.
can play it.
I'll
I
see.
think that just sort of put me over the. I was like, what?
This is madness. But the thing is, then if they were supposed to be buried according to religious traditions, what is the religious tradition? Because I'm leaning towards thinking that they were Muslims. Then it should have happened from day one. And remember, these bodies were rescued from the sea. So
Yes.
it's not natural causes in the sense that, okay, the body is not affected by water or whatever it is. And then they have been in the morgue for months now. Because this incident happened since when? Was it March?
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long
Do you
time.
know what is
Right?
the cost to
I
have a body
mean-
on ice for so long?
That's true. Someone said on the Facebook page, we should build the Antigua gangster. That's what someone says on the Facebook page.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I know.
Oh, my name is catching on. Gangston.
Yes.
Anyway, guys, before I leave, I'm putting in a word that maybe I can come on very early next week, Tuesday.
Oh, we
is
love to have
Emancipation
you.
Day.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
And slot me in very early so that we can talk emancipation.
Awesome.
You know, I see. Yeah, I know. I'm having a pottery camp next week, so I would have to be in and out very early, very quickly.
No
Okay,
problem.
Perfect. Thank you so
Yes,
much for that,
thank you.
Carla.
Thank you,
We'll pencil
Carla.
you
Just
in for
remind
sure.
us, so we could have that very good discussion.
Okay, Carla.
Emancipate.
Yeah,
Yourself from
I
mental
just
slavery.
told Kevon if he can put
Set
the
it up?
separate story for us.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Because it's part of the news, but
Yeah,
he
it
can just
wasn't there. Okay,
he can just lift
great.
it out and separate it.
Thank you so much, Carla. Have
So-
a blessed day today.
So Carla is right because it again shows how I find we are always charitable to others to a fault, and then the other people get to skate. I mean, look at Antigua.
I know.
All of this stuff,
From
I
day
mean-
one, he said he wasn't gonna
Yeah.
do anything,
we
and that's
have
fine. As right thinking persons in keeping with the law, I think Dr. Drew has done an excellent job in dealing with this, and history will show that he stepped in and he did what he felt was right. It was they got humane treatment and everything, but I just feel like now you're really pushing the envelope, right? Because when the incident happened, it was worldwide. They even approached the UN, all of that.
You then
Where
approach
was
Antigua.
this family that is now protesting that you didn't bury them according to traditional rights? And I'm not even trying to be unreasonable.
And my reaction was similar to yours when I heard, and I'm home, and I'm like, what? It has to be live streamed too?
No, but I didn't even know about the live stream. Like when I saw it yesterday, I was in office and it popped up because I get like the alerts. I was like, what? So my staff was like, what happening in there? I was like, girl, these
live stream,
Cameroonians again.
live stream is costly. It comes at
A
a
live
cost.
stream.
Yeah.
And cremation, and you know how much electricity cremation uses? How
If
much
you-
energy cremation
And it's
uses?
3 of them.
Exactly.
But
And
if you,
however you slice it, it would be expensive. If the government had to ship those 3 bodies, that would be expensive.
Thank
Yes.
you. Why,
So
why is it our responsibility? Good
Exactly.
grief.
at the end of the
We're
day,
not paying through our nose enough.
at the end of the day, the article says that we have spent up to $40,000.
Look at that.
So
That money could have gone to another ministry.
I mean, we I mean,
Exactly.
we love our.
I feel like you.
No. We love our people, but I mean, be reasonable.
Stop
Yeah.
pushing
You know?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Stop pushing it. We have been doing a great job.
We have another call.
yes.
Island T, you're on. Okay, let's hope they call back.
Yesterday, someone sent me a message about the
Okay,
airport.
put a pin there. Hold
Okay.
on. Let's take it before they
Before we yes,
drop
yes.
off. Caller,
Hello?
go right ahead.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
morning.
morning.
Yes. Yesterday the Prime Minister was on Freedom with EK,
Yes.
Yes.
and I posed a question to him, and what escaped me, but I did not get to put to him, but I heard it this morning on the same radio station where the economic growth in Dominica is on a rise. And my question would have been to the Prime Minister yesterday. As I said, that escaped me, but I would like to put that out there for the listening audience to ponder on.
Sure.
Now, it is alleged that our former Prime Minister have had a dual citizenship with Dominica. He's now the present Minister of, I think, is Foreign Affairs. And having heard what I heard on the news this morning, I'm wondering what is going on there between Dominica, as that economic growth is in Dominica, take nothing away from them. But why nothing is happening here in Thinking? Now, my gist is that our former Prime Minister have brought a lot of development to the country. He's now the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's no longer the Prime Minister. So, I mean, am I to read between the lines that if there's dual citizenship with Dominica and Dominica is growing, is some kind of negligence is if you think it's as to why? I mean, what I am looking at is that the youths are on step and pep and all of those things. And another thing that caught my attention is we have the Chinese and the Taiwanese are here, and then they are into technology. We need to see less of the Chinese shops open and more of technology in terms of whether a factory. I mean, guys, don't you think these are topics we should be having? Because our youths are now leaving school with high education geared towards technology, but yet most of the youths are on step and pep, whatever that is.
What did you
and
think?
Again,
Caller,
hello?
what did you think of the Prime Minister's presentation yesterday overall? I didn't hear it.
I wanted to know if the Prime Minister
Well,
answered this question.
you know, the Prime Minister, and I said like this to him because his words were that, I mean, I can't say all that he said, but what stood to me is when he said to Ike that he is repeating himself almost every time he's on air. And I said to him, by your own words, and I draw a narrative to him where I point out to the French president who have apologized by saying, words alone cannot fix what France have done. And
I
said
heard you
to
with
the
that
Prime
point,
Minister
yeah, but I
yesterday-
didn't hear the other part. Yes, I heard you up to
I
that
said
point.
to the Prime Minister yesterday that on social media, I am asking Emmanuel Macron to let his words become his actions. And I'm saying the same to our Prime Minister because his words yesterday is that he has been repeating himself. And yes, it's
is this
being
Journey?
repetitive almost every time when he's on air is the same thing. And we're hearing about green economy, orange economy, smart hospital, and all of that. And I said to him, let us see words become actions. And I'm saying now
Journey.
that if Dominica is growing, why St. Kitts youths are on step and pep? Guys, I don't know if you're following my drift here.
No, well, wait.
But-
I want to ask you two questions. One, did the Prime Minister address the first part of the question you asked us about dual citizenship?
No, I didn't get to ask him that.
Do you know that
yes,
you are not allowed to run for Parliament in St. Kitts if you have dual citizenship?
Listen,
No,
all
I'm
those
just asking if
theatrics
you know.
in politics that
And there was a case
just,
on it. Remember, he went to
Sorry?
court on it. He went to court with this whole passport issue. Do you remember?
But listen, I said allege, and I said if that's the case, I'm saying, am I to interpret what is happening here? That is, Dominica is growing, and think its youths are on path
But
and
I think
step.
the two are not. They're not the same. They can't even be put together on it. In my opinion, one they're two completely different scenarios.
We are hearing that Dominica is growing, and at the same time, think it. My thing is, our former Prime Minister was the Prime Minister then. He's now the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But I'm saying there seems like there's no investment is coming into Thinkage. That's the point I'm trying to raise.
I don't understand. I don't understand your
I
logic.
think
Just
the two of
because,
them are a stretch.
right, just because we had a story yesterday that said Dominica is growing doesn't mean that we aren't growing. Maybe they just haven't released the numbers yet. I mean,
Well,
and to say
That's one. And
right.
two, you cannot run for a parliamentary seat here in St. Kitts and have dual citizenship.
There's that. And-
So even if the case has long gone, that's a non-issue at this point because he would not have been a parliamentary representative if he still had the citizenship for Dominica. So that's one. Two, I'm not sure how you can link the two as one. You know, having dual citizenship and Dominica having economic growth, I don't think they're the same. I'm not
And
sure
also-
I understand the linkage.
And also, social assistance and economic growth are not mutually exclusive. How do we know? We don't know whether Dominica has similar step/PEP programs or not.
That's true. We
But
don't
Journey-
know what's
how
happening
can
on
you-
their
how
end.
can you
Journey,
say-
from your conversation, are you suggesting that he might be assisting Dominica? Because that's the only inference that I am getting from what you're saying.
Well, like I said, I just throw that out there
And
for
not
our
where he
people
holds
to
citizenship
think.
and lives
I
and will
mean,
benefit.
however we interpret whatever is happening, well, you know, if I am not in Dominica, I don't know what the youth and employment is like there.
Exactly.
I'm only talking from what I heard on the news this morning, okay?
problem.
Okay.
Nevertheless,
thank you.
Journey, I want to thank you for your contribution. I want to thank you for your thoughts and you know.
I hope Johnny doesn't think we're beating up on him, but you just
I
that
just
sometimes
couldn't understand the linkage.
exactly, and we have to be a little more logical and reasonable when you're passing the information you hear on the news, and you're gonna approach the Prime Minister with a question. You better be on point. Because that question, I would have smacked that down. No? Let's take another call.
Good grief.
Island T, you're on the air.
Good morning to the Energizers.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are
Leave
you?
my friend
It's the
Johnny
coffee.
alone.
It's the coffee.
All right.
Coffee indeed.
But I say I'm on born, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he born,
Melissa?
yeah. But he means well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
He's a
Absolutely.
concern about the city.
I
Now,
understand about the economic point, right? Like I can see him trying to find out what our economic growth is like. So that would have been one question. And
But
then
as,
the other
but
one
as
is a
far
separate
off
question.
as you think it is, there are possibilities, you know. 'Cause
Of
and
what?
remember that he was removed from the house for the dual citizenship.
Yeah, but
story,
possibilities of
So
what?
he actually ran with it. Now let me get to back to the Cameroonians.
Yes.
Cameroonians. Listening to the article on the news with the woman out of Antigua and the response by not the Prime Minister, the Chief of Police, and I think it was Brown.
Yes. Cromwell, was it Cromwell Henry?
Yes, there was some foul up on their side, you know.
He did say that there was a miscommunication.
Because,
he did admit.
they gave the woman the assurance, is there, you know, that they would bury the bodies. Right? They were given the assurance that they're going to bury them. And the people learned after, so that they weren't informed initially that they had already cremated the people.
This would be the sister that has been on air more than once, right? They gave her
But
assurance
the
that they
police
would bury.
answered, you know. Did you hear the police response?
That's what I'm asking because I haven't heard her
Well, try
video.
listen to it, darling, before you judge.
I'm
Listen
asking
to
you a
it.
question, Miss Henry. I'm not judging. I'm asking a question. So listen
I
to
know,
what
I
I'm
know.
asking.
So I
I'm
was
asking
surprised
if this
that
is
the
the same
commissioner said
sister.
he wasn't aware of it after giving the word.
I
He
have the
was
clip, by the way.
nowhere.
You'll play
And
it?
they're putting the blame on the CID. But the CID had to do it. Now, I don't know if you know about this meeting in Barbados about the reparation thing.
Yes, that was on the news as well.
Well, because I want you all to talk about it.
Okay.
And, and I put
Okay.
in your
Okay, Miss
thing,
Henry,
but that is very
Miss Henry,
interesting.
Miss Henry, here's what we're going to
Okay,
do.
we'll
We have time this morning, so
Yeah.
I'm going to have Kevin separate that story as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's quite
Yeah.
interesting, you know.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, then.
All right,
Thank you
then.
so
Thanks
much.
for that suggestion.
Okay,
All
great.
right, have a good one today.
Yeah, so I've had some a taxi driver, not to go off the topic, but I know yeah. So he was telling me that at the airport there seemed to be a situation where the bathrooms are locked, and it has been locked for some time. I am not
Bathrooms
aware.
for the public use? You
Yeah,
mean
for
like
the
if you're
public
there
use.
waiting for somebody
Yeah,
in?
yeah. I am not aware because I haven't been up there to see it, but
I usually don't stay that long.
yeah, I guess because of the trade that the individual does, they will realize that. So I think the individual is putting a call out there, so to speak, to get the problem rectified because it's causing discomfort.
Is it locked because they're out of order or just locked and open as?
It seems like there might be a water situation. It seems.
Oh,
It seems.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an overdue break.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Cameroon cremation thing ready. So we have phones going. So whichever one we do first when we come back.
Awesome.
And I think Kevin is listening. So Kevin, I'm going to
Morning, Kevin.
I'm going to WhatsApp you during the Creative Economy launch ad. And if you can get the Barbados reparations story for us, that would be great. Okay, so let's take the break and come back.
Yes.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Friday, July 28th is the date for the grand launch of the Department of Creative Economy. Unlocking your your potential, fueling the creative power. It's all going down at the taxi parking lot at Port Zante. Starting at 11 a.m., check out the Creatives Expo. The official ceremony will be at 6 p.m., then at 8. It's a live concert featuring our top homegrown artists. There will also be local artisans, lots of fun attraction for the kids and adults, mechanical bull, kids fun house, painting, candle making, and much more. Plenty giveaways and significant announcements for all creatives. Persons can register to be a part of the expo. Visit our social media for more information. Department of Creative Economy on Facebook and Instagram. So, on Friday 20th July, meet me at the taxi parking lot, Port Zante, from 6:30 for the grand launch of the creative economy. Don't you miss it.
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to
Win FM 98.9.
Win FM 98.9.
It's 8:41. We are back on Island Tea.
Yes,
And
morning.
Let's take a call. It's going, so we may as well take it. Caller, go
Hi,
right
good
ahead.
morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. Jamster,
Hey.
Johnny is onto something, but he doesn't exactly know what's going on. Yes, he is.
Oh,
He called you
yeah,
yesterday.
Absolutely. He's always on point. It's just that, sometimes, like,
I
I'm thinking,
called you and left a message with you yesterday.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gave you a number.
You gave me a number.
He's drawing a blank.
Okay.
So
well,
are you
I can
calling
think of one
to
person, but it doesn't sound like the person. right there.
Explain. Repeat.
It's the person
episode.
Jamster called me.
Oh, okay. All right. What's up, Brad? I know who it is. All right. I'm gonna give you a call for sure. No problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Do another call or?
No call.
Okay.
at the moment.
All right then.
Yes. So.
Okay, so back to the Cameroonians.
So as we await the clip, there's something else buzzing in the news.
I do have it actually.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just whenever you
Go
guys
ahead.
ready.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I
we
do.
could play it now then.
Okay, so here's the Cameroon cremation story. It's 9 minutes long, but at any point, if you
Cut and
guys
paste,
think
yeah.
you think we have the gist, we could
Yeah.
stop it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, here we go.
The Cameroonian saga of the Federation continues as the ball was seemingly dropped in the handling of the bodies of the three deceased Cameroon nationals, Derek Anga Azaya, Verdo Morfo, and Zeta Bertrand, 2 men and 1 woman, that have been here since they were recovered from sea on March 28, 2023. In previous statements, Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew shared that the 3 bodies were expected to be buried according to their customs if families were not found and they could not be repatriated to their homeland. Wynn understands that the 3 bodies were cremated on June 28th, 3 months after they were recovered from the ocean, and that news has caused public scrutiny. Deputy Commissioner of Police Cromwell Henry spoke with Wynn about what exactly led to the 3 bodies being cremated by the Liamiga Funeral Home. According to the Deputy Commissioner, the cremation boils down to miscommunication between the parties involved. The Criminal Investigations Department of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, the Deputy Commissioner, the Sadler Funeral Home, and the Department of Social Services. While the police and social services were busy trying to find the families of the deceased individuals, the CID was dealing with a complaint by the funeral home concerning the 3 bodies, which led to the cremation occurring without notifying the families of the 3 Cameroonians. According to Deputy Commissioner Henry, the government has already spent nearly $40,000 of the national security budget on the deceased migrants, and the families of the 3 deceased have requested that the police repatriate the ashes to Cameroon.
Given that we had a big bill for storage and still have to bear the cost of a burial, then I guess that was the factor that caused them to just opt to go for cremation. But they were not aware that the people were not aware that we were planning something else, and so it was just a breakdown in communication and resulted in that. And then it appeared to the people that we fooled them, but there was no intention to fool them, or there was no fooling. It's just that things went the way they went. But what I would say is that I think we have been very gracious to these people. We treat them with utmost respect. Of course, the cremation was done in the usual way, that we would cremate even local persons. And it was a tremendous cost to us. We had to take all that money from our budget, that we had to fight crime. So our citizens were placed, how should I put it, at a disadvantage by having less money to fight crime in order for us to take care of these people. So we share our budget that we have to fight crime for the year to take care of these persons. The funeral alone, those 3 bodies alone, cost us almost $40,000 for storage and disposal, over $40,000. And that is just for those 3 bodies. That has nothing to do with the 14 that we have to feed every day. The cost to us is over $100,000, well over $100,000, and we are still spending. And so I think that we are very gracious to them. We treat them the best way that we can, and we just feel bad that we would have to end that way. But it was not intended, and there was no intention to slight them in any way, because we were open with them from the beginning, and just that it went bad, and I explained that to them.
The fate of the 14 currently rests with the United Nations, as applications are being filed to be recognized as refugees in the United States. Until then, they are being taken care of by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, specifically from the national security budget.
They have applied to United Nations for refugee status to be considered in the US as refugees. And so United Nations is currently reviewing their application. They would have asked the government to host them for the next 3 months. That was about a month ago. Host them for 3 months while they process their applications. So they were given temporary refugee status, and so we are holding them here. We are paying their accommodation. They're not in custody per se. They're free to move about in the country and do whatever they wish, within the law, of course. And we are paying for their accommodation. We are paying their utilities, electricity, water, internet, and the rent for the apartment building where they live in.
The resurgence of the fate of the Cameroonians came about when the sister and mother of one of the deceased spoke on Phoenix Free Press, hosted by Nikki Phoenix, out of Antigua and Barbuda on July 22nd.
The brother left to fight for the family, and then she heard that he died on the road, and she didn't see a dead body. And then the commissioner wanted us to get all the family members, and she also asked for them to send a picture to see your brother. And then on Tuesday, 18th of July, we were told that the bodies were already burned and they kept the ashes. And your mom says, we don't do ashes because we bury our bodies in the ground and are not used to that kind of thing,
said Nikki Phoenix, clarifying what the mother of one of the deceased men said during the interview. The sister, identified as Nanka during the interview, explained that she was in constant communication with the Deputy Commissioner of Police in St. Kitts, who promised to deal with the body of her brother in the ways of their custom.
It is very painful, and it is difficult to just believe that somebody will live healthy and strong, and then you just hear that the person is dead. And then you just accept it. You will not even see the grave of that person. You will not even see the lifeless body, nothing. The commissioner was like, I will do everything possible. That was what the commissioner was telling me. Of which, before that 2nd of July, the commissioner had already, the bodies were cremated on the 28th, as he told me. He was the one who told me that on Tuesday, the 18th. I never knew of it. I never thought of it. So I was so bitter. I was like, Commissioner, what was the extent of getting to the family members, waiting for the family, until you even asked me, I had to go a long way trying to get to the other family members so that they can give their befitting burial as he promised. And he said on that day will be on Zoom. It will be a live meeting that we will follow as a family here. We will gather together as a family. We'll follow the burial together. The last time we spoke on phone, I'm sure you are a witness. He told us that. He has been telling us that. But now, coming on Tuesday, I was the one who wrote. I wrote him Tuesday, early morning, 5 a.m. in the morning. Commissioner, it has been a while. Mr. Commissioner replied me that same Tuesday, 5 p.m. in the evening. And that was a message I sent to you. It was like, the body has been cremated. I was not aware. I was so busy with what. The message was like, I was confused. And I said, cremated. When was that? I was even thinking maybe it took place that same day. Maybe he could not report me from morning. Maybe he was busy during the day doing that. But I was asking. My spirit keep telling me, ask him, get to know about the day. When did this happen? I was still insistent, I said, Mr. Commissioner, I want to know the exact day that this thing happened. The commissioner told me was on the 28th of June.
Nanka continued to question the intention behind the action taken here on St. Kitts and Nevis regarding the body of her brother, expressing that based on conversations with the commissioner, she and her family could not understand how her brother's body could be cremated given the conversation she had previously explaining all the burial customs she shared and what she said was a promise by the police here to live stream the burial.
Okay, I think we had a minute. Actually, it went really fast because it's only about a minute and 20 seconds left. So, and when I look, I said, really? 9 minutes gone? Just like, so, yeah.
Lord.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think?
Listen, I understand her being upset because she was promised one thing and that promise wasn't kept. So I can relate to her with that. It's almost like you fed me this story, I believed it, and I was, waiting on you to do as you promised. What I don't understand is the mother's outrage that she, when she said he left to go fight for the family. Where was he going to fight? Do we have a war happening in the Caribbean that I'm not aware of? So he left to fight for the family. Then he ends up dead, and they can't believe it. And then they want to see the bodies, and they want to see a grave that they could possibly visit. What's happening? Am I the only one that heard that? I don't know.
I figured maybe it is that, this whole story, I picked up that as well when she said he left to fight. Fight
for the family. Where? Yeah. Where did he tell them he was going?
Yeah, I wonder,
And then if he told you he was going to fight for the family, right? How are you not surprised that he ends up in the Caribbean? Why would we contact you to say that your brother is here dead in St. Kitts? We have his body in St. Kitts. If he went to fight, where did he go to fight? And then the other thing is, what if we had not fished the body out of the ocean? Why are you being unreasonable? Mm-hmm. What if we had not fished the body out of the ocean? It had just drowned and it stayed there. Who would you be picking a fight with now? I don't even know what's happening.
We have another call. Mm-hmm. By the way, I have the Barbados, and that one is short, thankfully. Yeah. It's 2 minutes. But yeah, let's go to the phone. Call or go right ahead.
Yes, good morning, Jamstock.
Hey.
And the nice voice lady and Azard.
Candy. It's Candy. Good morning, Jamda.
Are you talk the thing how you supposed to talk here?
Go ahead.
Gaston don't laughing after Joe.
Why?
Look where they put the country in. That money there could have even go to somebody's struggling family with a loved one. I mean, we ain't got nothing. We have to in a favor. United Nations and he will send a check to help the small country. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Everybody feel like come here, you think it's so. My young boy down in the government headquarters, I get real. I can't leave a deal. None are you. He's where hell are you? I should be ashamed of yourself. And Henry is not the finance controller. Henry shouldn't come and telling us nothing about no figures in money with that. Leave that to the finance controller. Have a good day. This is Jamdong talking.
All right, Jamdong.
Thank you, Jamdong. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
Another story that has hit is the Uber situation, the taxi driver and the Uber situation. I've seen quite a number of posts as it relates to that, especially since there was, I think, an article that was circulated. It was in the forwarded messages as it relates to...
I have this one here.
This is from WINNFM. Yes.
All right, so taxi operators claim that Ubers are undercutting their trade. Ubers are illegal operations, police says. So, St. Kitts and Nevis, scrutiny ramped up in recent days about the illegal practices of Uber services in St. Kitts and Nevis, which have grown into a popular transport choice for people from all fractions of society. During the Voices program on July 21st, President of the St. Kitts Taxi Association, Sylvester Socrates Hodge, alluded to a consultation between the Ministry of Tourism and taxi and tour operators on July 18th, where operators explained that Uber services are competing greatly with taxi services. Another point that was raised was the issue of Uber that operation, not sure, that seems to be some sort of misthing. It was stated that their insurance does not cover any passenger who is injured. They do not have the classification for public transport. All public transport vehicles have a certain classification. We pay our requisite taxes. We have the proper licensing. These other vehicles do not have that. So by whatever fluke they were able to get operational before, there are persons who willingly use their personal vehicle and say they're Uber. We were given the assurance by the Tourism Authority that this will be addressed, even to the point where the Attorney General will have to deal with it. We have asked over the years why, how. Somebody called me and told me that it is a good thing. But no, you're undercutting the taxi driver's trade, said Socrates on Voices. Deputy Commissioner of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, Mr. Cromwell Henry, told WINNFM that Uber drivers are conducting an illegal service, which is risky, not only to the drivers, but to individuals who solicit these services. Wow. Mm-hmm. Our traffic laws require vehicles that are transporting passengers for hire or reward to be registered as a public service vehicle. Currently, we have 3 or 4 classes of public service vehicles. We have the omnibuses, which carry an H plate. We have the taxis, which carry a T registration. There are guided tours that we call GT. Those carry a GT registration. And of course, there is rental. Those carry an R plate. So they are, in fact, public service vehicles, except that they are driven by the hirer instead of being driven by a chauffeur. So those 4 classes are the classes that would allow persons to carry passengers. So it goes on quite a bit, but
what I find interesting, so you guys are saying that it seems so in the US you just have to have a private hire license to operate Uber and Lyft and those things. Mm-hmm. So
but see,
why is it an issue here, you think?
Because even in the US, if you're gonna do Uber, you kind of have to register with Uber, so you're covered for certain things.
Of course, yeah.
Right, but here we don't have Uber in the true sense of having Uber.
There's no regulation
right? So
that governs.
Right, and like he said, it's risky.
But wait, when you all say Uber, aren't you guys? Don't you mean that these people maybe they actually get bookings from actual Uber?
No, it's not Uber.
We
don't have Uber in St. Kitts.
So we shouldn't call it Uber then.
Yeah,
that
was another thing. That was another discussion.
Well, but yeah, because when I took it literally.
Yeah, no, they used the logo in the article. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is
and that's another discussion too, because especially in the US, there's a whole app and what's not.
And you're registered because it is actually a service and it's governed by law. But we don't have that down here. So I guess they're just calling it Uber so that you can, understand and relate to the Uber app.
Extremely misleading.
But then when I saw the article, I was like, boy, this trademark.
That's extremely. It's sort of like that Starbucks, which isn't a Starbucks down in.
It really isn't a Starbucks.
Cleverly worked. No, it's not a Starbucks.
I've never been to it.
It says we serve Starbucks coffee, but it's not a Starbucks. So,
but I'm guessing they have that in the fine print.
Mm-hmm. No, it just has we serve Starbucks. So technically, they would probably evade. They could evade if you just read.
That. Yeah, you could state that.
You could evade any legal action.
Yeah, because anybody can buy Starbucks. And serve it.
So it says here, if I go on Google and it says Uber.com, it says Uber Technologies Inc. is an American transportation conglomerate that mainly provides taxi services where individuals can hail a taxi in an app on their phones. So basically, the Uber Technologies Inc. is basically taxi services, but it's in the US. So again, one has to consider the name that is being used. And I know the name that perhaps when persons did it, they just figured that, it's in the U.S.
you can't
and,
take
and
Persons
persons
will understand
yes.
that this is what's happening.
Just a private taxi or something like that.
Right. Or
Or
call it something
unregistered
else.
taxi. Or,
But see, that's the thing. It's going to be difficult for them to do that because it's their own vehicle that they're using, and it already has that P license plate or PA or PB or whatever. So that's what I think Socrates was saying. That's not what you're registered for. But we went through this whole thing to get registered and accepted to do this.
But I wonder if the local transportation people have a separate thing for private hire, because I know, for example, there's some hotels where they hire buses to take the staff, but the bus has a P on it. But the person has a contract to you bring
and
the staff to work.
And the insurance probably covers that
Yeah,
too.
so
right?
I'm
because
wondering
when you go to get insurance, they ask you what you're going to use the vehicle for.
So I'm wondering how the police and those laws, how they look at that,
Now you're making me wonder, what is that big coaster bus that transport those persons?
Oh, but that
is
one
it
is
really
owned. That one is owned by the hotel, so that's a little different.
okay.
But sometimes they hire.
This is like the Marriott Hotel.
Yeah, and like the casino and so on.
Right.
Okay.
And I think Park Hyatt has one as well.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a call. Caller, go right ahead.
Hello, good morning to you all.
Morning.
The panel.
How are you?
Happy Thursday to you all.
Thank
good morning,
you.
good
Same
morning.
to you.
Yes, you too.
Yes, last Thursday in the month, and next week is jamming time on the week after.
You're going jamming?
I'm not mad enough for those days. Yes, I come to call in and leveling and to think. You see, what they're trying to say, James, to know that the government, they trying to source for the gentleman who died.
I don't think it reached a part of a lawsuit. I just think that it doesn't seem to be as high as a lawsuit.
No, they're just complaining for now.
Because you see, they say we must really help our fellow man if they're dying, but I was saying, next time like that, you let the boat really take them down, accept them to the coast and carry them more out to sea and let them find the way where they're going, because if this that will happen to us, they source us a big money there from us,
Yep,
they
no
see
good
lady
deed goes unpunished.
ain't satisfied, and she's saying going to provide the real. I going from here, people used to live from here and go Puerto Rico on some small little boat, just because my front room, some of them in him so long, let my front room, let my kitchen, I must say. Yeah, and then people get sick, some of them may get die. They got to hide and bury them throw them in at sea, wait till they reach mainland and bury them there. So I only hope it ain't that it will work out too. And this person who is a lawyer trying to push this, so we must keep them forward. They see big America push them back from the mainland. They see they put in barbed wire and all to keep them
I see
up,
that.
still going.
That's crazy.
Man, crazy stuff you live. Because what happened, what happened, the lady, whoever the government is, let these cartel people come and overrun the country. Because as I say here, we want fast money. So what happened, the people them that took up your children, take them up and push them to do these things. I heard a documentary with them already. Like they see my young little boy 10 years ago, they're going to pick him up on the road. I send him down to the shop, pick him up and brainwash him and say, man, what you doing? Where you want? You go to school, right? No school out on holidays. You could juggle this answer for me. At the end of the month, you're going to get 10,000, 20,000.
You see, what happened is poverty, poverty breeds some of these situations.
Yes, and that's why the American government was trying to work with them, They say, who don't deal? They will give them the honesty, but I don't know, people still have force where they put buoy, They still, suppose they put currency in them, they say, really America wicked, They say, do not cross the border.
True.
I don't think the other guy no part to cross you. The Uber story now, I thought you would get okay from somebody who was in authority to do it, because nobody would have just come up and do it like that. It got to be, it would be a if it ain't registered properly and so. But look here, I I mean, sometimes I took one to and go where I have to go. But look at it, you get injured in a bus. 12 are you in the 14 are you? Sometimes you get nothing, you get your shoulder break, you get your foot break, nothing. The insurance give the driver so much trouble. Oh, don't talk if he was reckless driving. So I don't know. We don't got to work out something. When I went to St. Thomas, right, in 87, I met it there. I went to the supermarket and where shopping say, I was coming up next month, which is August. And I met a guy there was shopping at the supermarket, saying, if I want him, drop me home, blah, 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 be the case. Yeah, and I took him. He was from over Molyneux way. Yeah, and somebody I knew very well, but I went for a long time. So I thought it was just a common thing to do. I didn't know you have to go all these things, but in any way, accident will happen is the young people them drive too reckless. They need to drive with due care and a caution, but I don't know.
You see, but that's the problem, because if you take it and then something happens, then what are the repercussions? What is insurance going to say? How are you going to get coverage?
Sure, because it's a chance I take in.
Right, it's a chance you take in.
Just a chance now. To me, we go darling. To me, just like a chance now in everything.
It's true.
Okay, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear that the Barbados reparations story that Ms. Henry mentioned. Carla, you said you were trying to call, and I didn't see any calls. So, and I know you probably want to weigh in on the reparations thing, so you'll get your chance after the break.
Win FM.
The biggest party in sport is back for 2023. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots will need your support at Warner Park. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever before. And this year, the Patriots are ready to bounce back and claim the title once again. The games are between the 23rd and 27th of August. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WINNFM.
What is they doing?
Yeah. And we are back. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and another story that came up during our conversations this morning with our listeners is the Barbados reparations story. So we can give that a listen, and we would love if you guys can weigh in on that. Is it? Just 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So here we go.
Successful. A historic meeting is taking place on the Caribbean island of Barbados. Delegates from the African Union, Europe, the Americas, and the Caribbean are discussing reparations for the descendants of victims of the transatlantic slave trade. Barbados' ambassador to the Caribbean community, or CARICOM, says the summit itself is indicative of the momentum the international reparations movement has gained in recent years.
We see reparations in terms of the right to development. The way we see reparations is, look, European countries develop themselves at the expense of the systematic underdevelopment of countries like Barbados and the Caribbean territories and the continent of Africa. And reparations is about acknowledging the criminality that underlay that and now taking concrete measures to help repair some of the damage that was done.
Just a few miles away from where diplomats and human rights advocates are looking to the future, the history and legacy of slavery is more present. Newton Plantation, one of the oldest sugarcane plantations on Barbados. It's also the final resting place for hundreds of enslaved persons.
All of this would be a sea of greenery.
How many enslaved people would have been working?
About 200, which is quite a lot. One enslaved person to acre and a half.
All of it enforced by the whip.
By the whip, yes. The whip and sometimes the gun.
Historians like Trevor Marshall say Barbados, like other former slave societies, never recovered from the centuries of oppression, adding that the road to making things right begins with reparations. Over the span of hundreds of years, some 500,000 people were enslaved in Barbados. Now, nearly 2 centuries after emancipation, this small Caribbean nation has become a leading voice for slavery reparations. The delegates meeting in Barbados this week are expected to devise an international framework for advocacy at an international level, building off a 10-point plan for reparatory justice. This includes things like debt cancellation, development projects, and formal apologies from European governments, who activists say continue to reap the fruits of slave labor.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Discuss.
Yeah, so interesting. It's good to see that steps are being made in terms of acknowledging the past in hope of turning around and coming up with some solutions. I am still on the mindset with the Uber because I think persons, when you think about Uber, and I mean it's simple, you are forgetting, because when you do the research, Uber is an independent taxi cab company. So one has to consider that the word Uber, when you're using it, it's a company, it is. And the question is, carrying out the services here without the proper acknowledgement, representation with the company itself, is one might think about it as maybe being a misrepresentation. Because I think when we think about the average person, when they think about the word Uber, they think about it in the verb. And I say to do something, to move something.
Yes. Well, actually, the name brand, because, and I can't believe that we've been banning Uber about, and it's not even Uber, it's just some people, just illegal taxis, basically.
But I was telling Azard when we went on the break that at one point in time, somebody actually wanted to bring Uber down. Oh, wow, 2 calls. Let's take them before.
But the funny thing is, I don't even think it would be competitive here, because in terms of the split that the local people get versus what Uber get, they might not think it worth their while. So I don't think the taxi drivers have anything to worry about from Uber proper.
Yeah.
No, we lost it?
Yeah, no, we have it now. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, I called in about the reparation. Now, that is what I was referring to yesterday and a couple of days before. This is not just talk about what they did to us. This is taking action. That is my point, and I must compliment the Prime Minister of Barbados and the others that got together. I am surprised that it is not highlighted in St. Kitts, because we have a reparation committee. I don't even know what they're doing. Carla and all the rest of them. Carla, you too. Me as a family.
Carla, Miss Henry coming for you.
Yeah, I mean, no. What I'm saying is this, right?
Yeah.
What must I be fair with? Go ahead, darling.
No. I didn't say be fair. I said I'm listening.
You hear they have all of this CARICOM came through, had they things in all the countries. And this I would see, because Mayor Matt is not representing her country, she's representing CARICOM, because some people don't know that. She's the ambassador on that topic or subject. So I am proud. I am proud of what is happening. I am just waiting to hear. And I am glad to hear the avenue they intend to take, because many people, oh, how much money are you going to get? How much money are you going to get? You're going to carry it down Port Zante. We're talking about something more substantial in the development of our countries. That may even include the discussion of our CBI project, because that is one where we're trying to get ourselves over the poverty line. That's another way of presenting it, you know. We're not trying to harm your economy. This is one way of us rebuilding our economies and our countries. I don't ever see it so. You know, so I am waiting to hear what is our country's input, because they would have to make the input to CARICOM. So Carla could tell us what is going on. Now, another thing I wanted to check. Dr. Patrick Martin was giving an overall assessment of the country, the health and everything, and he gave the poverty. There had been an increase in the poverty line from 15% in 2017. I think he said 22.
Wow.
So when people say, like me, say that the poverty has increased significantly, we should pay attention to it. And our policies should be designed to alleviate, not reduce it, not get rid of it. It's not a poverty thing. It's a poverty alleviation to give some relief. So I'm waiting for, what's your name again, Carla? Carla, my good family. Please call in and let us know what you know about the reparation meeting in Barbados. It is now going on. And what is the expected outcome? All right, then.
Thank you so much, Miss Henry.
Thank you so much, Miss Henry.
Well, let's see if Carla gets in.
Yeah, Carla, no calls at the moment. And I'm looking. We actually had... Okay,
don't want to get in trouble with Carla.
I think this might be her now, I hope. Keep fingers crossed. Island T, you're on.
Hello, good morning again.
Hello, go ahead.
Yes, that sounds good, Miss Henry, but what are we going to do with that money? They say right now we want a new hospital. They said that they're trying to build it for someone in control us, Taiwanese build it for us and feel like they got halfway to use for themselves. What are we going to do with the hospital? Because me, Miss Henry, who older, they ain't going to say, well, they give us a kind of couple thousand, $1 million way to us, you know. What I was hearing somebody start speaking about last year about it, they may put it into our economy. She's saying put it into the thing. I believe take it and build the hospital that we ain't got to control by nobody and put the hospital and a private hospital. Because you see here how we contribute, we still underrate with people who can't economy down. Then when anything happen to them, they can't go to a good doctor because they have no money. So, to my knowledge, Mr. Joe was saying yesterday, the road badly want fixing. He's going to try to fix what he could fix. And new station need to build down in St. Paul and other little things. Just like when you get some money, Azard, and you say me, I get $20,000.
Oh, thank you.
Receive it.
We are receiving that. Thank you.
Yes, you get the idea, say, well, I owe somebody a 5,000, I'm going to pay them.
Yes.
And the other 15, you sort it out, and sometimes something left for you to still come put it on your bank book. So I only pray at my age, Lord, I don't go up in my 100. And I want to hear that we want this and we want that. Because they have a time a hotel here, they want to go build a private hospital, you know. And it's up the government got to keep him down. Right over the frigate bed here, so I beg them. To me, knowledge as I think they should remodel the hospital deal. You have a lot of room to the back. You could go back. You could go way back, go down and come up. I don't know where they're moving the thing for. He don't name Joseph M. France and do not move the name. So I want them to know, you know. I heard him yesterday about him getting because so much of people calling in. I want was to tell him, you know, don't move the hospital. Down there could do for other things. There are some people will want land to build. Other thing and so. You know, down there what they don't got to do, Azard? They have to put a big roundabout there, you know. Right, to break the traffic. You can't be the one who's crazy road where they got here. And stop lights and all them, they don't sit down and I figure out that. So I beg them hard, since we want thing and a little money what we don't get from the tourists now, to eliminate the little poverty rates what we got. Give them a little change here, help who want help and who was to turn off from the COVID or the way we got me take none, you know. I say I have my own little business and I ain't taking none. I got underlying problem that I just have and I say ain't taking it. You know how much people do I die? Because they have had an underlying sickness. And instead they observe themselves, they wrong to take it. People who don't even go nowhere about business, say, hey lady, I say, why you take my daughter? Say, my daughter, what me come take anything? Me ain't taking none.
Since you're on the topic of the hospital, I mean, since you're on the topic with the hospital, sometimes I wonder, as again before I've said it, we have 3 hospitals here in St. Kitts, one in Nevis, and sometimes you look at the one in Molyneux and you look at the one in Sandy Point, and you wonder if they're up to scale with the one with Bastia, because they seem to be at tier level, where Bastia being, even though all of them should be on the same level, Bastia being the number 1, then perhaps Sandy Point being number 2, and then Molyneux seen as number 3. Sometimes I consider whether it is that it might have been better to upgrade the ones that we have to have the same standard before going into having a new hospital.
Okay, you know, he's a brilliant guy.
But
that's a good point.
That's with all the other topics.
So so when you know the Honorable Prime Minister brings the idea about having a new hospital, my question would be, I mean,
we don't need that.
Why is it that you think that a new hospital is better? Why couldn't we upgrade the old? And so that's a consideration. Maybe he would have the answer for that.
Our people telling him upgrade the hospital, bring new equipment, bring the thing where to pump out your blood and put in fresh blood. Bring this, bring that. Not to the hospital and maintenance.
We just got some dialysis machines. I do like the idea of upgrading it. I mean, you can't have enough. Our population is growing, and so you can't have enough hospitals.
So we are adding a new one, but we still have others that haven't been upgraded to a level where you feel comfortable that you could be anywhere on St. Kitts and receive equal medical treatment regardless.
Service.
Yes.
When you go to Sunny Point, I went down there 3 years ago to pull a tooth, and down there to me noise make me feel comfortable. If they want more equipment, I will have to do beg for more equipment. Not to move you know, left the down there by West Farm in peace. And about the people them done job. Joe, we got so much of people here to job. When me bring somebody give them $1 million, I don't want to these people all to hit them in the head, But God, Mr. Joe, I said, me get him to speak to him yesterday, and I don't know to make a appointment and go in privately to him. Leave the hospital, he got a lot of room, go way back. For building about 20 houses.
Okay, caller.
Thank you for your
We
contribution.
have Carla is trying to call, and she's using. I just determined which line Carla was calling, and that's the same. So Carla, try and call now. It's clear now, so if you can call, that'd be great. That point you raised.
Someone said, good point about upgrading the hospital. Someone said, upgrade the Bastia Health Center to a better functioning to our people as well. Because we often thinking about getting something new where we don't focus on upgrading and maintaining what we have.
I want to look
and
at it
decentralizing
from a
as well.
perspective though. this is not my niche, right?
Yeah,
I can only speak about it. Neither yours, you're a lawyer. I can only speak about it from a perspective that I visit the hospital, and I've never been to Sandy Point or Molyneux Hospital. But I don't see an issue with upgrading all of them and then still building a new one.
Okay,
Hello,
let's take this call. Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well, and thanks for asking. A pleasant good morning to you all in the studio.
Yes.
It is a breath of fresh air in an environment which speaks to what I said of the atmosphere that is self-explanatory. I want to speak to the article that read this morning about Uber, and I must commend Jamster for saying something, even though he's not a taxi and tour operator. Why have transportation services offered by people who is not legit, not licensed, and not certified? However, this, which I'm going to speak about, we, as cab drivers and taxi and tour operators, are certified, have all that there is, which gives us the right to operate and provide the service of transportation, tour buses, GT, etc., etc. And we've been crying, many times we have done so, even the former administration, the Ministry of Tourism, the PS that was there, Tourism Department, and what we're looking for is just representation. We still are not. We're even talking about it as I speak. Recently we had a meeting, and that was one of the things that was a topic. However, it is true that Uber services, I spoke briefly on the radio this week to the Inspector of Traffic, and we have spoken to police individually about this. They know. Like I heard this morning, yes, Deputy Henry knows, but then they're not doing anything. You know what the inspector response were this week? Until something happened, really? They're waiting for something to happen? And they would say to them, oh, it's a friend, really? But we have seen them come to the airport regularly. We have seen that and go to the resort regularly. So who are you supposed to believe? Them? Then what you have to do about doing something about it? Nothing? You're just waiting until something happens, an accident? Really? I don't believe I heard that based on the response that they gave me. And they have said it to almost every one of us. We all are taxi and tour operators and do need representation. Last but not least, I want to comment of something that was read based on the article of Sylvester Hodge, as his name was mentioned. And I must make myself known, not by name, but who I am. I'm an executive member of the St. Kitts Taxi Association. Mr. Hodge is the president of the St. Kitts Taxi Corp, not the St. Kitts Taxi Association. I thank you all for listening, and please have a good day. Goodbye.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you so much. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for weighing in.
Okay, it's very odd. Carla is saying she's not getting it. Carla, there's no one on. Can you call now?
Paging Carla.
So it seems as though maybe I probably. Okay, let's. Island T, you're on. Hello, Island T, you're on.
Hi, morning.
Hey,
Good morning.
Yes, I would like to weigh in on the hospital situation.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes.
Yeah, I think that we do not need a new hospital at this moment. And as a matter of fact, we have to think about the size of the nation and the lands that are available. We have a hospital already up there. There's enough space up there to upgrade that hospital. And because if you take the hospital out of operation, it will be years before you could use that land to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And to take up prime land to put down a new hospital at this moment, to me, is a waste of land space. Mm-hmm. It's in the balls that they need to just listen to the people and upgrade the hospital. As a matter of fact, to think about adding another $150 million to the national debt, because you say it will cost about $50 million US dollars. At this point in time, when everything's slowing down, I don't know. I'm just a layman in this thing, but looking at it from that angle also, so I think we just need to take with time and upgrade our hospital to something that could be modernized and smart as they are putting it, that can happen.
Also,
somebody was telling me in Taiwan have a hospital over 100 years old. And it's a modern hospital, smart and everything.
Yeah.
But the structure, the age of the structure, and our hospital ain't all that old, you know, the building itself ain't all that old. It's something done in the 90s.
Yeah. Someone on the Facebook is saying that he's trying to fulfill a campaign promise.
Well, the campaign promise could be a new hospital. It could be new in terms of the service that you offer. It could be new that you upgrade it and you do you bring in new labs, anything. It could be new in that sense. But the work ethics of the people also, that could be new because it'd be a first time we get proper service.
You make some valid points.
It could be new.
You make some valid points, but I just want to also remind us that under the previous administration, Aquila was also touting a new hospital. Do you remember that?
Yes, she was. But the new hospital, as I was saying, it could be new from different angles. It doesn't mean that you could put
a new
structures
building,
to the
right?
back.
It doesn't have to be a new building.
You could put structures at the back of the same hospital because it needs expanding. And so it could be new from that angle. You could mention the word new because of
New
what
and
you have to
improved.
offer.
Yes,
And
yes.
when I
you
think
have good points.
When
They're
I think
valid
about
points.
it too, right? When I think about it too, when something happens to you, you have to go to the hospital. You're not thinking whether or not the building is fancy or if it's a 10-story or 2-story. You're thinking about the service. Is the service good?
Am I going to get what I'm going there for?
Yes. And so I remember we had a medical talk with on the Daily Dose when we were talking about gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
And if I am correct, I think what I recall is that when an incident happens in the night, some persons, the same staff who's on work in the day, some they have to be called back to 10. So I think if you have now an additional hospital, you have to now think about staffing to be adequately provide for the 4 hospitals that you're going to have. And
I don't think the size of the population will lend to additional hospital because these are things that the World Health Organization and all these things, they will have something to say. And I think the size of the population won't lend to new rooms, to additional rooms or what's not. I think they will advise.
I'm kind of on the
against that.
fence with it because I feel like Dr. Drew is a doctor by profession and he has been in the industry, which is something that we don't have all the information. Like, we're not privy to all that information. So maybe he has a reason, maybe other than his campaign promise, as to why he's pushing the issue. But I also am on, like I said, I'm on the fence. I'm also of the view that we can upgrade this one. There's enough space, like the caller just said. I totally agree with that. There's enough space at the back and at the sides for us to expand and add more services and boost the ones that we currently have.
In
So
fact,
I'm kind of like on the fence with the issue.
I understand.
In fact, I actually thought that's what before they mentioned this new site. I actually thought that's what they were going to do.
I thought they were
They were going to
expanding.
raise the back and just build.
I thought they were expanding initially. Before they announced the land, I thought, thank you so much
Thanks for the
that
caller.
I actually thought they were just expanding and putting new structure.
Exactly. Well, I have a point to make on the hospital thing when I come out. Let's take a break because this is a point I made. I think I may have made the point during that same bullet wound thing.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. It's 9:33.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
So who you left the kids with tonight? Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves. Girl, you mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here?
My mother was leaving me home by myself since I'm 5. He can handle it. Nothing gonna happen.
This don't feel right. Call and check on them.
Look, I work hard all week. I deserve this break. Besides, they're good. Hello?
Leaving underage children at home by themselves is child neglect. Need support? See if another family member or a trusted neighbor can help. This message brought to you by UNICEF, UK Aid, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
Hey kids, drink healthy!
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy. of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun. It's chubby. Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta. Fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real, real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
9:35, and we're back on Island Tea. And the point I wanted to make about the hospitals was that I've said I've said a lot of things over the years, and no one seems to listen. I guess because I'm not a politician, but yeah. So politicians are demigods around here. I remember there was a story a few weeks ago where someone got shot. I think it was in Cairn, and I was saying,
Yeah, I remember you saying
yeah,
that.
I said, it doesn't seem to make sense to me that you leave Cairn and drive to JNF when you have a hospital over there.
Yeah.
So at the very least,
remember what we said?
yes,
We were like, it's probably just like an upgraded health center.
Exactly.
And that's the point to be made. We have 3 hospitals on St. Kitts, but only one of them you feel secure and has even the basics to meet those situations.
That should be on the same level. I'm not saying obviously the same amount of beds, but at least each one should have a full emergency room.
Because
I mean, what's the point?
Because Cairn to me is closer to Molyneux than it is to Bastille. I could be wrong, but I feel that way.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So I think that
right.
perhaps resources, I'm not against a new hospital if that is needed, but I think resources should also be placed to upgrade what we have and what we call as hospitals.
So it means you have a full surgeon and whatever, full ER team at all 3 hospitals.
And then that is another point about having the staffing, adequate staffing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm
no medical doctor, but I'd like to think that I'm a reasonable person who could analyze and who could, see certain situations.
Because that was the thing that stood out when I heard that story.
So can this old one be upgraded to the smart one that we're being promised? I think that would be the question.
So I wonder, because we would have JNF and then we'll have this new climate smart hospital, and what the others would just be upgraded health centers.
We just got a smackdown on the hospital. Good morning. Why the chatter about whether or not the new hospital? Decision has been made. The site already identified. The Taiwanese already committed to
Why you put on
funding.
that voice to read it?
No, I'm just being an idiot.
Go ahead.
Drawings and costing are being addressed. Yeah, fair enough. No, we're not saying we don't want a new hospital. I just thought that site up there is big enough where you could have just raised the old hospital at the back. I don't know if maybe they have some support services behind there for the new hospital that's there.
So that person is suggesting, because plans have already been made without even discussion to the general public, that we can't discuss it?
No, like I've always said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It wasn't even on our topic, but since it was introduced, like I said, I'm on the fence, and it is what it is.
At the end of the day, I think that sometimes, perhaps even, you listen to the views of persons outside. Yeah.
Let's take this call. Island Tea, you're on. Okay.
So back to the Uber discussion though, because someone made a valid point on the YouTube stream.
Yes.
It says the Uber persons found a gap in the market and filled it.
Let's stop saying Uber though.
Well, Uber's in caps, so I quote, right? Let me read it properly. The Uber in caps,
quote unquote,
right? Persons found a gap in the market and filled it. Update the laws and allow another category so they can operate lawfully. And I feel what this person is saying, because I remember at one point trying desperately to get a taxi, and there was none available. because, you know, some of them stop working at a certain point in time. Some of them are just too big for what you need to get done. Like, you know, you just want to drop from here to there, but because of the size, and then, of course, gas is a factor. So I guess, like the person is alluding, they found a gap in the market. But what needs to happen is exactly what she said. It's update the laws and allow for that. Like I was telling Azard when we went to break, in Guyana, there are lots of private taxi services. And what they do is they open a company, and let's say you want to call it Candisie Fleet. So I would open the company.
I think that she's been thinking about this. Candisie Fleet. Go ahead.
Something, right? I would get the license. I would get the license, and then I would hire persons. So they would now register under my company. So they're now covered under the law because I'm a properly registered business. They're covered under insurance. My company also has insurance. And then there's, of course, this whole dispatcher service and whatever. So when something happens, it falls under the company, and the company is legally registered for that purpose. And so when you call them, you get a taxi under that service, under that company.
And I think persons need to take into consideration too, because when you're providing this service and, you know, being in the field, being a practicing attorney, some matters where you have traffic accidents, and it's very costly, you know, when it is that you don't have insurance to provide, because you have to think about it. Someone could get what you appear to be a simple incident.
I think even
like
Socrates and Cromwell Henry,
a whiplash, and they're having pain in their neck. That person now has to go to therapy. They might have to go to several therapy sessions. So that could be like 18 therapy sessions. You just multiply that by
let me tell you,
by
they're
100.
not cheap.
Yes, and that's $1,800. The person then might be experiencing more complications. It could be that they need an MRI. Now they have to pay up to about $2,000 something in the MRI.
Let's take this call.
So you have to look at the expense of
repercussions,
what could happen as well. Go ahead.
Caller, go ahead.
Hey, morning.
Everyone is good?
Amen, yes. I'm guessing you're good.
Obviously good to go. The filling a void, you know. Yeah. All them have to do is just fit them in the system as someone said. And I think them some youth was talking about it last night about Freedom FM. Yeah, just fit them in.
You definitely have to do that.
Them good to go. Them serving the people. They're filling a void.
Yep, they wouldn't exist if they weren't.
Yeah. Now what's coming up, it don't know. Yeah, and the taxi man them know too, but just all about they can't take the competition. The competition is good for us. We noticed the PM, the honorable PM said they don't mind going back to the table concerning the cannabis matter, and we welcome that song, because they have to go back to the table. Something else pop up there again. Something he keeps saying, that St. Kitts Nevis is the best place to get pregnant.
I heard it. He keeps saying it. Indeed, I heard it.
Really?
Get pregnant and have a child. Yeah, he said it a couple times.
Oh, anchor babies type thing?
No.
Don't miss that. Just talk against this, sister. Miss that.
What he said is that St. Kitts is one of the, he's aiming for St. Kitts to be one of the best places to get pregnant and have a child. So they're upgrading the neonatal facilities.
No, hold on there. You didn't say no boy have a child, you know. He said get pregnant.
Yes, you go back and listen to it. Get pregnant and have a child.
Hold on. You're not listening to the PM now. I'm listening to my PM now. I never hear him say about having baby. He said get pregnant.
Listen.
So, no, what a prickle. Anyhow, we just tune in. We are going to listen. Bless.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you for that.
So when he said it initially, right? He said, get pregnant and have a child. I think that's when he had the wrong table. And then yesterday on Freedom, he said, get pregnant. And then there was a pause, and then he come back and he repeated, and he said, get pregnant and have a child. I was like, thank you, Dr. Drew, because what you're really saying, right?
Maybe he's telling us to get the population
increase the population,
right? I mean, population increase. Yes.
Caller,
go ahead. Have a caller.
Dr. Joe, you know what you're saying, you know? Every child who going to preschool, we have to pay $25.
I'm glad you called back, because Carla sent a message for you.
No, we want her on the radio, because
she's not getting in for some reason. But she sent a message. She said to let you know that There was funding for Barbados. Only 5 persons from CARICOM Reparations Commission was chosen to attend. And then she said she recently assisted the ambassador to the UN and the PM of St. Kitts with info for their presentations. The Reparations Committee is active and has plans, but it is not an event planner society. Let Mrs. Henry know I attended a convention in Kenya and a symposium in Jamaica just this year.
Yes,
so she's been active and back and forth.
Yes, and Carla will be
thank you, Carla,
on
but
this
when
show.
you go to Kenya, you must come back and tell us.
We'll try to bring her on next week.
Anyway, you see, we have this ministerial thing, everybody traveling, and then they come back and they make one sentence for days.
Yeah, and even with the travel, a lot of persons have been up in arms with the constant traveling.
Conference, my son Jesus. Let me get back to what I want to talk about.
Go ahead.
Now, one with the hospital.
Yes.
It would be nice if you all could get your hand on the hospital statistics, you know.
Agreed.
Because I'm a statistician by training and by practice.
Yes.
The pediatric ward is nearly always empty. Apart from COVID, the hospital occupancy rate on average is 25%. Those of you who visit will see, well, nowadays men are going to kill, but they're nearly always empty. Sometimes I have the impression that the nurses want the ward empty. Now, if you have a very low occupancy rate, it's like a hotel, would you go and expand the facility?
That's true.
We got this army thing for COVID. Was there ever need to use it?
I could only see.
There was a 40-bed.
I could see perhaps the expansion in terms of to have maybe
yes,
a specialized room
for the MRI.
Yes, the MRI and those kind of things.
Because even Sandy Point, nearly always empty. Molyneux, nearly always empty.
Yeah.
So, election is a funny thing, It makes people say things to entice. But you are an intelligent person. If when you see the data, because we got to plan with data.
Miss Henry, we have a hyper-centralization. I think I just had to come up with that word to describe what I think partly probably. We have a hyper-centralization culture. So I think one of the problems maybe with Sandy Point, Sandy Point is the second largest city. And if you're telling me that the hotel is the hospital is almost always empty, that speaks to the fact that most people have a JNF, let's go to Bastille mindset. So how do we?
No, but Sandy Point does send the people to JNF.
Exactly. And that shouldn't be. What's the point of having a hospital if you're just going to send people to JNF?
What about Molyneux?
Well, I know that. I mean Molyneux as well. I'm just using Sandy Point as a titular example, but I mean both.
And the thing about it, I feel like if we have 3 hospitals, even if they're not exactly equal, they should be at a level where you feel comfortable going to either.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes, and they should be well. He has said that he has assigned doctors on a thing level on 24 at Molyneux. Support maybe Sandy Point always had somebody.
Because I feel like one of the approaches, if you're going to build out these hospitals and have them like that, which is what I think should happen, this is where medical tourism comes in, because we're always going to Antigua and Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica. Why can't people come here? So why not build out?
I have been to Barbados. The doctors have their own surgical thing,
Okay.
They don't depend on the government, I'm telling you.
I know, but the point I'm making is, if cost is one of the issues, then you could say, okay, well, let's make the investment, and we can have people coming here for treatment to help to offset the cost.
Yeah, but I think, look, if you really want a medical tourism, we have to encourage the physicians and even the lawyers. Have your own business developed to take this strain off of the government.
Yeah, but that too, absolutely, because of course that also facilitates medical tourism as well.
That's what I'm telling you, Dr. Edwards, right?
Yes, I was just about to. I have
been to his surgery in Antigua.
The eye guy, exactly.
I have been to Barbados a couple times to Dr. Reefer. He has a separate thing right next to his business. Where he does his surgery, so you will never ever see, and most of those people have their own surgeries. Our professionals need to develop more and take this strain off of the government because, as I say, if the occupancy rate at the hospital is already below 50, why are you expanding it? What you need to do, as people have said, any addition you make must be to facilitate the occupancy maybe of the specialist. Maybe you make a doctor's, like a diagnosis quarters.
Yeah, but Miss Henry, I may have missed it, but did the Prime Minister, based on your recollection, and I know you're very observant and on the air.
Yeah, go ahead past that.
Yeah. Did he ever give a specific reason as to why he is proposing the construction of a new hospital?
Because a lot of us new politicians and all the rest ball down the hospital when they're in opposition. Because they build it, eh? We cry down everything. When we're in opposition, everything is so bad. And so we feel to gain support, or we can build a new one. A lot of what he said in political meeting and campaign meeting based on nothing but an attempt to entice and delude people. They have no backing. And that's a fact. The statistics will show. Do you really need a new hospital? Even this one, they were talking about the Dalhousie, since in Dr. Douglas' time. Oh, we can have surgery by the internet, and we have heard those stories before. If you really want, this one about you can have this kidney transplant. Where you can get the kidney from? In the prison?
Jeez. Were you really suggesting, Miss Henry?
He said then also got kidney transplant. You hear me well? When you go hospital, you got to watch the doctors them. I got to warn Dr. Azard, you know, don't take anybody kidney. He said soon.
You won't make me get a lawsuit this one.
Someone says on the Facebook page, a key consideration is investing in a modern diagnostic medical equipment that is currently not available on the island. This could be a way to attract patients from neighboring islands for diagnostic services, thus a new source of revenue. Just an opinion.
No, well, yeah, which is pretty much what I was saying earlier.
First find out what the people have, because that's St. Martin is good.
And I remember there was a time St. Martin people used to come here. But Miss Henry, I have a question for you. The 25% occupancy rate, where did you get that number?
The hospital puts out statistics, you know. Because we used to collect it. They could tell you the number of persons, the cause of death.
Where?
Well, the planning unit used to get it, because I know. But what I'm saying, if they have a statistician there. I have a niece up there. Stacy Batties.
How recent?
All the people in Stacy in a thing now, Miss Henry.
Stacy is my niece, my brother's daughter.
I know.
So I have liberty.
So how recent? How recent is that number?
Call them and ask them. But they keep statistics. They must. They have the number, you know.
Yeah, they would have.
And you could. So what I'm saying, when you're making plans, right? Even in your own family, have some data. You want to go borrow, check out your account and whatever, and do your expenses. To say, well, I'm going to buy a BMW. Unless you're going to buy one of the used one, you know? And even so think, can I afford to buy a tire? Can I afford to buy the battery? So I'm saying it sounds good, but is it an urgent? And that's another thing. Now, if you say, well, in the next 5 years or so, put a timing on it. Because many people think, next year they're going, or this year they're going to break down. Time the thing.
But
because the truth is, if the roof is leaking, fix the roof.
But Miss Henry, you see, you talk about timing, and my mind starts to click.
Miss Henry, I have another call.
When they do the timing thing, usually that they're off timing because they said the administration that the houses would be constructed in June. This is going into August, and
Not you going into a whole different topic now.
Caller, go right ahead and be
Caller,
brief. We
good
have another
morning.
call. Yeah, go ahead.
The timing thing clicked me.
Hello?
Hi,
Yes,
good morning.
Good
Yes,
morning.
good morning. I think the whole idea behind a new hospital, was not just to fulfill our needs, but others as well, including that of being a teaching hospital. If you realize the offshore education industry, so to speak, is one of the more resilient ones. And if we're talking about diversification and so on, we should absolutely do everything to support that. And a new hospital right across from the area where we have all those, we have a major medical school, it's a good location, and it certainly would be good advertisement to advertise that we have a state-of-the-art
They
hospital.
could stay here and work instead of leaving.
Right,
So less
and
brain
not only
drain.
that, it's one of the factors considered when people migrate or retire.
Yes.
There are rich people who want a warm climate, etc., but they are very concerned about the medical facilities.
Yes, good point.
So that would be one way to attract them. One statistic, though, which is concerning, and we haven't talked much about it, is life expectancy. You know that life expectancy in the region, we're one of the lowest. We're at 71.7. And this was up to 2 years ago. I think it was the World Bank or some one of the organizations presented them, right? Dominica was 77.4, Antigua 78, St. Vincent 72, Grenada 75, St. Lucia 73, Montserrat 76,
You pulled that from Google, life
Yes.
expectancy.
Yeah, right. From an international organization, Barbados 79, Trinidad 74. We were one of the lowest. And by the way, I think Ghana was one of the lowest too. Huh? So that to me is concerning. If we're again, we like to say, if we're number one in the OECS economically, then there's no. I would have thought that would be reflected in our life expectancy as well. So we really need to get those figures up.
Interesting point, Ira. That's a very, very good point.
I was surprised. Actually, I was surprised. I was looking for data on something else. I came across that, and I was really surprised at that. It really caught me by surprise. By the way, in
You have me
comparison
shocked
to the
here
US,
too.
in comparison to the US is 76.4 and Canada 82.9.
Norway is
You know,
83.
Of course.
Okay,
Norway
right.
is always
You see,
good.
so we have a ways to go, and anything we can do to improve. Health is certainly part of that.
What do you think, Mr. McMahon? Do you think they should build a new one and demolish the old or maintain both?
Because
What
someone
is-
said on the Facebook, before we go, build the new hospital, demolish the old one, make some space to build up the area to put the monument for the Buckley's riot.
What do you think, Mr. McMahon?
I like the idea of starting from scratch, to be quite honest.
A new one.
When you say demolish the old one, in the meantime, you do what?
I am not sure I agree with the demolition of the old one, but like I keep saying,
the buildings
I
are
think
relatively intact. I would use it for, I don't know,
Maybe research
a
facilities.
new improved Cardin home or something like that.
You
It
know,
could be
I like
still
to
a
give
medical
people
facility.
the benefit of the doubt, right? Dr. Drew is and has been a medical doctor for quite some time now. I don't know the amount of years. And if he's pushing for a new hospital, then I would love to know the rationale behind it, because I don't think he's just pulling it out of thin air.
And the hospital
Right.
isn't that old,
Right,
actually.
yeah.
It's what, 20 years?
So-
Roughly 20 years old?
But you also realize the pressure. We've had two medical doctors who were prime ministers, and we have all kinds of issues in health.
Let me tell
Right.
you, it's a big one.
So I don't think he wants to go on record as being the third one, and we still end up having the same kind
Yeah,
of...
yeah.
Someone is saying...
That might also be it, but
Yeah.
but I still don't agree with demolishing the old. I think upgrade it. I don't think you can have too many hospitals. I've never heard of something like that.
But he also said, I mean,
No, you can't. You can't
said,
actually. You don't
additional
want,
medical
you don't
facilities,
want,
which I think is good. I mean,
What was
maybe
that?
research. No, Ira said, well, like
Diagnostic.
yeah, other things.
Other things.
Maybe
So
have
then, yeah, like
know.
so you can make that into like what he just said, a diagnostic.
Someone is saying
facility.
upgrading the skills and trainings of clinicians is also important investment. Building strategic relationships with medical institutions in the US, allowing for collaboration with specialists from the US would be great. Imagine having cardiologists, surgeons being scheduled to perform surgical procedures on the island. How awesome would that be? Yes. Kidney transplants, we need to get with the times on the Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, psychologically speaking, right? A new state-of-the-art hospital would work wonders. You know, and certainly would be a good investment in terms of attracting the sorts of things you just mentioned. So
yeah,
I don't think.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. McMahon. I think it goes without saying you can't automatically build a new hospital and have the same old services or old staff. So you have to upgrade everything as you go. Even if you're going to upgrade Molyneux, upgrade Poxon. Is Poxon it's called?
Yes.
Poxon, upgrade JNF.
And
let's face it.
Mary Charles.
Mary Charles is Molyneux.
Yes,
yeah.
let's face it. We need.
But look at it.
An upgrade in medical,
even in name
services.
recognition, the average person would think maybe twice, 3 times, what's the hospital in Sandy Point called? What's the hospital in Molyneux called? But we are not JNF. You
But I'm wondering,
understand?
are they going to give the same name?
Don't be like that. I know the one in Nevis. I lived in Nevis.
No, I mean
Alexandria.
That's one in Alexandria.
Yeah.
But I must say, what I noticed with the Prime Minister, his love of medicine comes through. Like I
It's a good thing.
He
Lord knows we
probably
need
doesn't
medical
realize it.
services here.
But when he's talking about medical stuff, there's an added kind of warmth in his voice. To me, at least that's what I see.
I didn't look
So
at his
I
face
think,
next.
I mean,
If that's
come on,
his passion,
it's his right.
Like for the
Yes.
longest.
So
Gosh.
okay,
That's
guys.
his thing.
So before we
Tell her
go,
one.
yes.
You don't have to leave, but you gotta go.
Oh gosh, we have 1 minute. Okay, so let me just say that there is a lecture to be held on Monday. It's early still, Monday 11th of September by our first Prime Minister. It's called A Conversation with Our First Prime Minister. It's going to be at Kuna. It's the Road to Independence. It starts at 7:30.
I feel like he still owes us a visit, so
Yeah.
try and wrangle that because I
I
need my
know.
book signed.
I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna try and go on record. Oh, it's probably gonna be online too.
Yes.
Okay, well,
So our first Prime Minister, think about it, our
Okay.
first Prime Minister would be discussing the road to independence.
yeah. So that sounds
And when
good.
he was here, he did discuss medical stuff. Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to bring him back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, we really
He just
do.
wanted
And
his interview focused on the medical section. of his
National
career.
Heroes Day is coming up, so perhaps we could do, something even
He
before
owes us
that.
a visit
Yeah, like the
because
day
our time was
before
cut
something.
short.
Yeah, or something like that.
falls, Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds
time
like
to
a
throw.
plan.
Time to throw you guys out. We have.
We're getting kicked out.
We have Spin Cycle coming up. I'm gonna pay some tribute to
Sinead
At
O'Connor.
the top. No, not yet. Well, actually, I was trying to, but I couldn't find the CD. I don't know what's going on, so I have to.
Do you want me to send you the song? Because I was obsessed
That
with that
song
song as a
now,
kid. I didn't even understand what the song meant, right? But I used
Prince,
to close my
Prince wrote
eyes
that
and
song,
sing.
right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Close my eyes and sing the song, and no clue what the song
Do you
meant.
ever saw the horror story that she the account she gave about? That sounds like a movie.
Which one?
Like some kind of surrealist horror movie.
Account of what?
Where with a meeting she had with Prince, she went to visit him
Oh
at
my!
Chanhassen.
No. I never saw
Yeah,
that.
some crazy sound.
Should
That sounds
the
like,
video.
no, not a video. Well, yeah, okay, I'll look for it. But yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, I
He
loved
beat her up and chased her down the highway at like 3 a.m. She had to walk, and it was like winter. She had to walk and go on some.
Prince?
Really, yeah,
Purple
really
Rain?
crazy stuff. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and I read this like about a month ago. Yeah. What? Oh, pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Cause he was upset that I think part of it that Prince was upset that the song when she did it was much bigger than when
He expected.
when he because he recorded it
I
before.
know. Yeah, I know. He
and-
did a cover. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
a
so I think that really pissed him
version.
off apparently.
Okay.
Okay, out.
So tribute to
yeah,
who now?
out.
Who you're paying tribute
No,
to?
I'm just saying. I want to play a couple Culture Ammo classics.
Oh,
Remember that
nice.
Chevy song I played earlier?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with that one.
All right,
I'll play
we'll
a
stay
couple
tuned.
tracks.
Stay tuned.
Thank you guys for tuning in to
Yeah.
Island
Yes.
Tea today. It's been great, but
And
we'll
then-
see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
See you
Can't believe
guys.
it's Thursday already.
Yes.
Have a good one today, guys.